This program is for educational purposes only. The content is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any diseases, nor is it intended to take the place of your primary care physician. Statements in this program have not been evaluated by the FDA. As an empowered individual, you do have options available. We're honored to continue. This program is for educational purposes only. The content is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any diseases, nor is it intended to take the place of your primary care physician. The statements in this program have not been evaluated by the FDA. Testimonials are shared as individual experiences, and the individual results vary and may not be typical. We do not make any claims regarding health or income. As an empowered individual, you do have options available. We are honored to have a founding father of the science of epigenetics guiding us with the best options to obtain or maintain optimal health. Dr. Joel Wallach. This program is for educational purposes only. The content is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any diseases, nor is it intended to take the place of your primary care physician. The statements in this program have not been evaluated by the FDA. Testimonials are shared as individual experiences, and the individual results vary and may not be typical. We do not make any claims regarding health or income. As an empowered individual, you do have options available. We are honored to have a founding father of the science of epigenetics guiding us with the best options to obtain or maintain optimal health. Dr. Joel Wallach. Do this. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Daily with Doc and Becca. My name is Becca Dukes. I am a certified naturopathic practitioner, health coach, and I am the hostess of this show, where faith, wellness, and purpose collide. So thank you so much for joining us. If you're out on any of the different platforms and you would like to join us live, you may do so by sending us an email, zoom@dailywithdoc.com, if you want to get on with us live in the future. Today, you can go to zoom.dailywithdoc.com. That'll take you right into our Zoom room, as yes, we are live Wednesday, Thursday, Friday from 12 to 1 p.m. Pacific, 1 to 2 Mountain, 2 to 3 Central, 3 to 4 Eastern. And if you're in South Africa or the UK, I believe it is 8 to 9 p.m. I might be wrong, but Albert can correct me if I am. So thank you so much everybody for joining us. We are a resource for an amazing community. So if somebody referred you to this program, they are your person to one, get back with and say, thank you for sharing this information with me, and let them know what you liked best about the program. And if you have any questions, they are your go-to person. Because we are a resource for an amazing community, we want to make sure that we maintain the integrity of that community. Now, if you found us on your own and you would like to get more information about what we share here on the Daily with Doc and Becca show, and you're not already working with somebody, you may give us a call at 855-949-3377. Again, that's 855-949-3377, or shoot us an email, questions@dailywithdoc.com. Well, folks, this program is for educational purposes only. It is not meant to take the place of your primary care physician, nor is it meant to treat, diagnose, or cure any disease. But folks, when you are guided by one of the founding fathers of the science of epigenetics, who has proven that the genetic theory of disease transmission to be incorrect, yes, incorrect, then you gotta listen, because nutrition does so much, whether it's in favor of or improvement of the body and how the body responds. So today I'm honored to welcome to our amazing Richard Renton. Now, Richard Renton, we lovingly call him Dr. Dirt, as he has done a lot of research into minerals. He is actually one of the original formulators of many of the products that Longevity offers still today. He has a gift for making science not only understandable, but exciting. And today we're diving deep into the topic that is commonly misunderstood, and that is the mineral iron. So with today's topic being iron supplements, the benefits and myths about iron, we will uncover the real purpose of iron in the body, why balance matters, and clear up some of the biggest misconceptions that could be keeping you from your best health. So folks, grab your pen, grab your paper, settle in, as I welcome to the screen with me, Dr. Dirt, also known as Richard Renton. Richard, you have several degrees. You have been implementing, I mean, you didn't just go to school, get a piece of paper, and then go do something else. You have been implementing the science of the body and nutrition on so many different levels. And I'm so excited that you are here with us sharing about iron. So, I mean, iron, I know for me, when I was 17, I was anemic. They wouldn't take my blood. And I learned that a low iron is one of the reasons. But it's not that it's the reason, it's what the deficiency of iron does within the blood. So I know you have a whole lot to talk about. Welcome to Daily with Doc and Becca.
Well, thanks for having me. Should I go like this since I'm Iron Man?
Yes.
So
Yes,
thanks for having me on. I always enjoy coming on your guys' show and talking with all of you. And we're talking about iron. And iron, as far as the FDA, is one of two nutrients that is essential to your body that they put restrictions on and all that kind of thing. Because if you don't have enough iron, it creates problems. If you have too much iron, it creates problems. And the window between those two isn't that great. And so it is truly a balancing game to get that. And everyone kind of needs to know, and we'll talk about it in a little bit, if you start to get too much iron, what the signs are. And so that if you think you're coming close to that area, maybe you can go get a blood test and get it measured and things like that and kind of know where you're at, or you can just adjust as you feel need. But, you know, Becca, you talked about anemia, which is really one of the big ones that when you do searches and whatnot and research comes up. And what it's implying is that iron is an essential cofactor in producing red blood cells. And if you don't have enough iron in your system, you don't produce those blood cells, and a whole bunch of other twisting things start to get involved. Not only can you not donate blood, if you start to lose blood for any strange reason, your body can't recover quickly. You'll find that you're going to be fatigued a lot more. You're going to have stiff joints in your abdomen. You'll have pain in there, low libido, and you actually turn gray. And so that's if you have too much. I skipped pages there. And when they said gray, I went, no, that's not right. So let's go back. So anemia is your body isn't making enough red blood cells. Blood loss is if your body can't make enough blood cells, your volume of blood starts to decrease. Women who want to get pregnant, if they don't have enough iron, it creates problems because you don't have enough blood to plant the egg and that type of situation and have a successful pregnancy. It seems like kids that are becoming active and growing a lot need more blood within their system to generate growth and proper development. And so those are all big things. The kicker is that the government actually gets involved on how much iron you can put in a supplement. And if you notice, when you look at longevity products in general, we're typically around the 10 to 22% level of daily value. And you've always heard me talk about daily value being the minimum that you need, that you actually need more. And most in this situation, I kind of still will stand by that. But we're going to talk about it. And so I already jumped a little bit earlier. If all of a sudden your skin starts to turn gray, and if all of a sudden you're starting to get a lot of fatigue and joint aches, you might actually have too much. So what does too much create for you? You start to have liver problems. You start the chance of diabetes skyrockets, irregular heartbeat, heart fatigue, chest pain, memory loss. All those can be caused if you have too much. So here's the game. What is not enough and what is too much? Well, when you work with research, they take samples of your blood and they measure how many units or milligrams per, or micrograms in this case, per milliliter of blood within your system. And they can get average. So it's not how much you take orally, it's how much actually makes it to your blood. So now we get into the discussion, how hard is it to absorb iron? And the answer to that is it's extremely hard. You need to have an acidic stomach and your gut needs to be healthy. You may take lots of foods that we'll go over here in a little bit that require, that have iron in them, but you won't absorb any of them because your gut's not healthy. And, you know, one of my favorite longevity people is Dr. Joanne Conaway, and she talks an awful lot about the brain-gut connection and everything that gets involved with. And she's a big proponent of I-26. So am I, as well as probiotics in the billions in a daily basis, just to keep that gut healthy. And then ultimate enzymes. And the reason why we like that is it actually has additional acid in it to help you break down, because acid's really important in breaking down iron, because truly iron is what you think it is. It's a metal, right? And even though it's in very, very small flakes that it can go inside a cell, it's still metal. And whenever you start to work with these types of things, it becomes more of a challenge. So the rule of thumb is that an average adult should take a minimum of 8 milligrams of iron in their diet a day. A woman, depending on her time of life, whether she's in her 20s or 30s or in her 50s and 70s, that can go all the way up to 18 milligrams. So that shows you how much the difference between male and female is. So when you create a multivitamin in design that is designed for everybody, unfortunately, we look at the lower standard, not the higher standard, because if men start taking 19 every day of the week and whatnot, we could start to have problems. And so that's one of the reasons there. Pregnant women can take up to 27. So, you know, and breastfeeding, they're recommending between 9 and 10. So all that thing. Then if you get on the internet, you do reading, and, you know, I like it when people go on the internet and read, but I want you to read in the right spots. You start to learn what's called upper tolerable limits. And what that term means is that there was research done and there was reasonable science that if you took X amount, we're going to call it 10 just to keep the math simple. That isn't the actual number. We'll talk about that. But if we take 10 and all of a sudden we start to get people that have an adverse side event, their skin starts to turn gray, or they start to get sore joints and things like that. And on these studies, then what the government does is they divide it by 2, bringing it down to 5. And that's what they call upper tolerable limits. Upper tolerable limits. Now, where do you get that information? I'm going to hold up this book, and hopefully I'll hold it up close enough to my face that you can all see. It says DRI, Dietary Reference Intake. And then down below, you can see, I'll play over the fence game. You see all the different minerals in this book. They're actually in a series of, I think, 9 books, and they're very expensive. However, you can go on the internet and you can look at it. And I think in the side chat, we have a link that you go there, because apparently I have an older version. And so there's a couple different websites that you can go to. I gave them one, but I also have another one called www.N as in Nancy, A as in Alpha, P as in Paul.edu. And now we got Phyllis typing like crazy, keeping up on all of this. And you can put in iron and it'll bring up the chapter in this book on iron, and you can actually look at it for free. If you buy this book, I want to say they're about 200 for each book, and there's 9 of them. So most people don't want to do that unless you're crazy like me. I have a full set. But if we go into that book, it gets into that heavy duty math. I'll hold it back and you can see all this, but it talks about how they come up with this upper tolerable limit. And in this particular case, they determined that the high end limit that people started to see side effects was 45 milligrams over a long period of time. So they want to make upper tolerable limit half that number. So we're down around 25 or so, a little less than 25. And that's if you take it on a daily basis. And so we, being part of longevity, feel that you should take all 90 essential nutrients every single day. And so therefore we intentionally bring iron in low to make sure that we don't do it, because the side effects, we don't want you to have liver problems. We don't want you to have any of the other problems that I buzzed off earlier on that. And so here now we can go with liver, diabetes, heart, memory, all those types of situations. But there's foods that have it too. And there's foods that a lot of people most commonly eat. Now, the one that everyone should know is any organ meat. If you eat beef liver or you have any of those, they're rich. It's about 6 to 8 milligrams per 3 ounces. Now, that's a small piece of liver. So you get, when I worked restaurants and we did liver and onions, and when I was paying for college, the serving was 6 ounces. So it was twice those numbers. Oysters, clams, and mussels, there again at 3 ounces is between 5 and 8 milligrams. Anchovies, 2 to 3 milligrams. Beef, lamb, and venison just normally is 2 to 3 milligrams. Pumpkin seeds, sesame seeds, hemp seeds, and flax seeds is 2 to 4 milligrams per ounce. Lentils, chickpeas, black peas, all your peas families is 3 to 4 milligrams per cooked cup. Soybean, tofu, 3 to 4 milligrams per serving. Spinach, beet, and kale is 2 to 3 milligrams per cooked cup. Fortified cereals and oatmeal, I hope not all of you are taking oatmeal, can be anywhere from 2 to 8 milligrams. So now you can start seeing, just if you're eating a regular diet and you eat salads and you put beets in it and you put some tofu on it maybe and everything, and you're taking a supplement, you have to start being a little more careful what you do. So that's one of the reasons why, of course, I wrote it on a piece of paper. I wrote it on the back of a piece of paper. I wrote down all the longevity products and how many milligrams were in it. Of course, I can't find it. There it is. And I thought I'd read them off to you so you can have them. So I guess the easiest way to start out with the two that have the most, and that is our Ultimate Classic Liquid and our Ultra Body Toddy. Each fluid ounce has 4 milligrams. So if you're one of those people that takes an ounce per 100 pounds of body weight, you can easily get 8 milligrams right there, which is a third of getting close to that upper tolerable limit. Then there's a group that falls to the 2 milligram family, and that's Ultimate Daily Classic Tablets and Ultimate Daily, the version that I designed 20 years ago. They both have 2. Then the Beyond Tangy Tangerine family and Liquid Tangy Tangerine are all 1 milligrams, and we have 1 milligrams on a lot of individual things. We do not have a prenatal. If we had a prenatal as a company, we'd probably have more iron in it. If you're looking for something and you're not going to take just a straight iron supplement, probably your best bet is to look at prenatals, because that's where you're going to find it. Just because when you start to do let's say we did a supplement and we put 12 milligrams in it, the liability insurance that our insurance company would target, because it's over what the FDA would recommend, just skyrockets it. In fact, they'll almost make it impossible for you to want to do it. And so that's where that all comes from. And so iron is such a fun thing. You have to have it. There's no question about it. But the difference between 4 milligrams and 20 milligrams isn't that much. If I had a Petri dish and I put it in there, you would hardly be able to tell the difference, because 24 milligrams is about the size of a pea. And so, but you have to be careful, especially if you do it on a daily basis. Now, if a woman is trying to get pregnant, if a woman is pregnant, if a woman is nursing, then should she take additional iron? Yes. If you find that you're starting to have some of the challenges that anemia or blood loss or those types of situations, may you want to get additional iron, maybe not in our product line? The answer is yes. And so keeping all that in mind, no matter what iron supplement you take, I'll be surprised if you absorb 20% of it, unless your gut is extremely healthy. So it's kind of a game, but longevity has to abide by primarily the governing bodies within the United States. Canada is even more restrictive, and fall within the guidelines of good manufacturing practices. And so that's where we fall. So usually the first question I get asked is, how come we don't have more potassium and B, iron in our products? We'll talk about potassium in another show. But the reason for the iron is just the guidelines of which the FDA sets, and something that we want to create that everyone can take on a daily basis and continue to take throughout their whole lifetime. And so that's the key behind all that. So Becca, I'll let you start shooting shots at me now.
I'm not going to shoot shots. I'm nicer than that. You know that. But we do have some questions, Richard. Thank you so much for that overview. And just as a reminder, folks, Ultimate Classic Liquid and Ultra Body Toddy, both of them are liquids. Now, Richard, when I started on the program, I had a lot of bone and joint issues. I had anemia. I had actually had anemia for 34 years. And just working on the bone part of my issue, the next time that I went to give blood, they asked me to sit for a double sitting of whole blood after being rejected all those years and going almost every other year because I wanted to help.
Yeah.
They say, I kept getting these things saying, we need your blood because of my blood type. And I would get rejected. But now I know that I can't get rejected because I'm on great supplements, and it has been 9 years now I've been able to give blood. So even with that small amount, it made a huge difference because before I was fatigued all the time. I had weakness. My skin was paler than it is, and I had very brittle nails, shortness of breath. I mean, asthma was one of my symptoms that I had, with always cold hands, cold feet, always. Now they're not. Concentration, brain fog, restless leg syndrome, folks. Any of you can relate to any of these. It might be as simple as getting on the 90 essential nutrients and getting what the body actually needs. And then you had mentioned, during pregnancy, needing more because of that growth and development that the body gets from having adequate iron levels. Now, as you were going through and listing off some of those items that have iron in them, some of them were meat, like the organ meats, and others were plant. The question is, if there's not iron in the soil, are the plants still going to have iron?
The answer is no. It just like if you can find a plant that can make its own iron, please introduce it to me, because I'll be able to genetically change it and make some gold. And Doc and I will continue to help everybody, but we'll retire. You can't. But iron is pretty consistent through the topsoils throughout the world. It's not like selenium, and I like to pick on selenium because everyone can kind of picture this. There's only one part of the United States mainland that has selenium, and that's up in the Dakotas and part of Wisconsin and up in that area. Nothing on the West Coast, nothing on the East Coast. Now, we talk about selenium and the health claim that'll help prevent heart disease and challenges like that. Well, where's the cardiac belt in the United States? It's on the East Coast, on the southern part. There's no selenium in their soil. So if they're getting fresh fruits and vegetables in their area, they're not getting selenium. And they also love deep fried food, which doesn't help the matter at all. If you just kind of think of that way in iron, but iron, there's more of it throughout the surface. And so there isn't that much of a challenge. The challenge is that the way we grow in the United States, we don't rest our harvest land. We don't give it a quarter off or a half year off or a year off, because they just have to keep producing the money. And the only minerals they put really back in the soil is NPK. And because that produces yield, doesn't improve quality, just increases the barrels or per bushels per barrel. And so if they can produce 3 times as much corn in their field, they'll do that, but it may not be nutritionally beneficial. So if they never give a chance to the flood the fields or the moisture to get back, and we don't put it back in the nutrients, yes, the percentage of iron depletes down, but there is a lot of spots still that does that. But you are correct. It's slowly going down.
So with that being said, when we're eating animals that are vegetarians and they're eating, grass, alfalfa, what have you, if that plant source, food source for them is low in iron, then
they're going to become anemic just like you did.
Yeah. Okay. So that just really goes to prove that supplementation is not just necessary, but mandatory.
So if you if your listeners are listening to this and they kind of are on the fence, let's call it that, have them go to a livestock person and just say, is there anything that you don't put feed in your animals' food so that they get more vitamins and minerals? And they're going to say, absolutely not. Every single chicken, every single cow, every single pork, all lamb, all of them, they all get, Purina chow, so to speak, to help increase the minerals. And then you turn around and ask the farmer, do you give your family vitamins? And you'll come across half do, half don't. We'll just say it that way. And you kind of go, well, if it's good for your animal, why don't you think it's good for your family? And the most common answer you get on that is because my family eats the good food that we grow on the farm. And so I don't want to argue with them, but it's kind of amusing sometimes when I run into that scenario, because I guarantee every single one will be giving some sort of a supplement to their animals.
That's my life story, Richard. As a farm kid, I read those labels for my rabbits, my chickens, my beef, our horses. Yet we took very little as far as supplements go. And when I was diagnosed with scoliosis, the doctor told my mom to, just give her calcium. So I got calcium, nothing else.
Nothing else.
We got the Flintstone vitamins when we were really little, but that's only because they tasted good. And then, grew what we bought, what we had in our garden.
I remember having a conversation with Doc. He used to eat the cattle chow.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's before he went to college.
Yeah, before he went to college. And, my youngest son, every time he'd go out to feed his rabbit, he would eat some of the alfalfa pellets along the way because they tasted good. And he would tell me which brands did or didn't taste good. It's like,
the other thing I want to mention is, unfortunately, the two items that have the 4 milligrams each are kind of original formulas where flavoring wasn't our primary concern. The only plus to that too is if you look at those, there isn't much sugar in those either. So,
right.
I try to tell everyone, remember that something that you don't think tastes good is a learned response in most occasions, and you can turn around and get used to doing it. I can tell you, Steve and Michelle Wallach still drink liquids. I mean, you'll see the BTT on Steve's desk, but if you actually ask him which one does he take daily, unless he tries to be a good company person, he still drinks the liquids.
And I started out with the Ultimate Tangy Tangerine, which is the liquid. And then I moved into the Ultra Body Toddy. But the nice thing about those, Richard, a dose is 2 tablespoons, a capful.
Yep.
I mean, you can shoot that, chase it with water, and you're done.
Yeah, that's a really common question I get also, is that how much, if I pour it into water, how much do I pour it in? The amount of the 1 fluid ounce that you're mixing with water really doesn't make any difference whether it's an ounce of water or 20 ounces of water, just as long as you drink it all. Right. And so if you want to down it and chase it, down it and chase it. If you want to put it in 6 ounces, that's fine. If you want to make a smoothie and put it in that, that's fine too. It's just that every day you got to make sure you get that whole ounce or whatever particular dose that you feel you need.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I like to down and chase, but then, I've moved into the 2.0, the 2.5. I'm a company person. From the 3.0, wanted to try them all out to see what works.
Oh, I was going to mention, I don't think 3.0 has iron in it at all.
Well, and see, I have
besides the amount that's in the trace minerals. So it's real low.
Now, so let's talk about trace minerals just a few seconds. The plant-derived minerals are plant-derived.
Correct.
Now, the plants take up the minerals through the soil, through their roots from the soil. So when we're talking about iron as a supplement being added outside of the plant-derived minerals, where is that sourced? Is it sourced from the raw material?
It's sourced from soil primarily, yes. And then purified.
Okay, because that was a question that came up as well. So, okay, well, let's go to AJ, who has his hands up. And folks, just as a reminder, this program is for educational purposes only. So I hope that you are getting some information that you can use, not just have it go in one ear, out the other, but use it. And if you know anyone that is dealing with any of the health concerns that have been mentioned so far, share this program with them. Not just share, but make sure you yourself are subscribing. You have those notifications on so that when we go live, you will know that you can listen in and then also get that notice for later if you can't make it at the time that we are live. So thank you so much for joining us, and for our studio audience, I hope you have that chat open, because Marilyn and Phyllis both are just taking amazing notes and putting those there for you to be able to take screenshots, or if you can't write as fast as what's being spoken, they can type that fast, so it's there for you to refer to. AJ, what question do you have for Richard Renton today?
All right, Becca, so you're going to have to cut me off if I'm asking Richard a question that's not appropriate, because although
Okay, I'm cutting you off. No, go ahead.
although he's Dr. Dirt, we know he's not a doctor, right? But so I got a couple questions, but you brought something up. So you're saying that the iron is sourced from oil. Does that mean it's ground up rock?
So yes.
So you're
So
saying
I want to talk. I thought your first question was going to do this. So while she was setting you up, I was looking it up really quickly. How much iron is in the plant-derived minerals? Do you know that one?
No, I don't know. What is that answer?
5 milligrams per fluent ounce.
I like my. I gotta drink my cherry mix. 5 milligrams per ounce. That's more than the Ultimate Classic.
Yes. So just so you can go to youngevity.com and go to the resource and bring up the analysis report. Now, analysis report's kind of a fun thing because it's super complicated. And it's not just because if you look up iron, it says 320. But then it says milligrams per liter. Mm-hmm. So now you got to figure out how many ounces is in a liter, and it's 33. And then you have to look at what dose. Well, that's the full strength stuff that we get, and you have to divide it by 2 again. And then you're down to per serving. And so I share the information, but most people find it easier to send me an email and ask me, because I'll do the math for you.
33 per?
33 ounces per liter.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
So my question is, since we're talking about rocks, I have someone who's dealing with rocks in her kidney. And you're not a doctor, but just kind of from your experience, what might be a strategy that you've heard doc use to deal with that? And do you know the etymology? Or do you know like kind of what the mechanism might be for someone who maybe doesn't have a gallbladder and needs the bile, et cetera? Just talk in general terms about that, because we're not.
Okay. So typically kidney stones is a misuse of calcium within your body when it doesn't have enough to do everything. And so doc will suggest more calcium. And I'm not going to say how much, because then I'm diagnosing and prescribing. If you don't have a gallbladder, then you have to take a product like Ultimate Enzyme. Because if you take the Ultimate Enzyme, it's got the acid in there to help break the stuff down. What the gallbladder does in your body is basically a storage container. It's just a vessel that holds liquid, and your body's constantly filling it. And as you eat, it secretes it out so that it helps break down your food. So when they turn around and go, oh, we don't know what this is for, and they rip it out of your body and throw it away, they just took away that reserve reservoir for you for proper digestion. And therefore, you have to manually do it via taking a supplement. And that's when Ultimate Enzyme really helps. So if you have a friend that doesn't have a gallbladder, they need to get that. And then, you know, I can't really say what to take to prevent kidney stones, but I kind of gave a hint there. But you can go and get Dr. Wallach's books, Dead Doctors Don't Lie, or Let's Play Doctor, and it's in there with more detail.
Sir, yes, you know that we know, and thank you for sharing that. And you know, I just wanted to just reinforce that I am a basic Mighty 90 guy. So when I get folks who budget conscious, you know, or have particular situations where that Clemson report kind of indicated that Ultimate Classic Liquid excels at, you know, I'm sure to make sure that the folks are getting the Ultimate Classic Liquid, and I just want to thank you for creating it.
Oh, you're welcome. That was a neat study. Too bad that we couldn't control everyone not to call Clemson directly to get more information. But it's a neat study.
It's an amazing study with so much information that supports not only supplementation, but the formulation that was so brilliantly put into, was it 2 of the longevity products, the Ultimate Classic and also the original Beyond Tangy Tangerine?
Yeah, I call it Blue Lid.
Blue Lid. Well, that fits.
1.0, I don't know.
Yeah, 1.0 original Blue Lid. There you go. So yeah, that was an amazing study that was done. Great questions, AJ. Thank you so much. Let's go over to Marilyn with a question. Marilyn, go ahead and unmute yourself.
Back in 1990, I was diagnosed with pernicious anemia. They would do all these tests, and they would just give me folic acid and B12. What's your take on that?
That's actually diagnosing and prescribing. Would I take a product that has the methyl form just in case? The answer is yes. And would I look at the longevity line and find ones that have high levels? Yes. And those are also 2 other nutrients that are extremely hard to digest. So when you look at the RDA and see that we have hundreds of percentages over what the daily recommended amount is, everyone has to remember, well, that's how much is making it through our blood, through our gut lining, and through our gut lining to our blood and in our system to get it. And so
what they did is they started to give me regular B12 injections.
You know, the other thing that was kind of interesting is that I asked a doctor, an MD, is the B12 in those injections methylcobalamin or
there's 4 types, right? 4 different.
Yeah, there's 4 types. I was asking him which ones. He goes, I don't know. I mean, he literally didn't. That was you know, and cobalamin is an interesting one too. But you know, they'll want to put you on shots.
So what
can
form
you do
is
it
best?
orally? Yes.
What form of the B12 is best?
I like methyl, but that's just because it takes away arguments. If you talk to Joanne, she'll say that they're all pretty much the same. It's how healthy is your gut.
And they never address that. They never address that, of course.
No, but if they're giving you an injection, they're bypassing the gut.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Thank you, Marilyn. Great question. And I love the fact that we're able to bring in our life experiences, because Marilyn, shake your head. Do you still have to take those injections? No, she does not. So thankfully, and she sleeps really well. Or is that a thankfully? Oh, all
No,
right, let's go.
When I was lacking iron, I was such fatigue, it was unbelievable.
Oh, yeah.
Now I sleep really well, yes, and I don't have that extreme fatigue like that.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing. Absolutely beautiful thing. Thank you so much for sharing that. And let's go over to Rod. Rod, what question are you bringing for Richard today? Is it topic related?
Yes, it's kind of topic related. It's in the same area. So, hey, Richard, how you doing again?
I'm doing
You
good.
guys.
You're going to laugh at me because I'm leaning forward to read your T-shirt, and it doesn't do any good when we're on Zoom.
Oh, this
Isn't
this
that a
shirt was
great
designed.
looking t-shirt?
Becca designed this shirt for me. This is my Holistic with
Oh,
You T-shirt, designed by our very own Becca for the Coach Rod line. This is my line for my fitness business. So, designed and orchestrated by Becca. Um, so you answered the question about the iron and the 3.0, but the 3.0 doesn't have as much mineral as the 2.5 or the 2.0. So is that enough mineral for that product? Does all the rest of the nutrients in the 3.0 make up for the minerals, or do we need extra minerals? And part two, with the mineral sticks, if you get EFAs and add to the mineral sticks, will that be the 90?
no. Well, okay. First question. Does 3.0 offer enough? Now, this is being recorded, and you're asking me to answer a political question. In my opinion, the answer is no. And I would have you take either plant-derived minerals within your 3.0 liquid. I tell you do it in the morning at Rise versus Rise and
Restore.
Thank you. I would probably recommend it then. But that's personal preferences. And, we go from there. The other thing I'll point out is that even 2.5, 2.0, and 1.0 have a half dose, so 300 milligrams, which is okay. But does it stop me from adding a tablespoon of plant-derived minerals to the solutions to give me a full dose? Because that's what it takes. Just in case you don't know, 2 tablespoons equals a fluid ounce. And so I'm more apt to do that. The advantage of Ultra Body Toddy and the Ultimate Classic is that they have full doses of minerals in them. So when AJ was talking about helping people keep the price tag as low as possible, getting Ultra Body Toddy or Ultimate Classic and maybe Pro Hobo Omega, does that hit all 90? And the answer is yes. Okay, so all 90, as you know, is 60 minerals, 12 amino acids, 16 vitamins, 2 members of essential fatty acids. If you take the minerals, which is 60, you're still not getting the amino acids and the vitamins in the sticks. So is it all 90? The answer is no.
Okay, thank you very much.
Mm-hmm.
All right, great question. Thank you, Rod, and for advertising. Next question, and this is a really, really good question, and I think you are the perfect person to answer this question because we get this a lot. Bruce is asking, what makes Longevity's minerals different from the others?
Okay, so the plant-derived minerals where we try to get the majority of our minerals comes from an ancient compost pile. And that's really the nicest way that I can describe it. If they want to get really a lot of details, they can go on YouTube and they can type in Longevity Mineral Mine Tour, and you can kind of see where it comes from. But if you could think about it, millions of years ago, there was all sorts of vegetations all over everywhere. And in this particular spot was a dry spot over in Utah by St. George, which is down in southern Utah. And there's a lot of coal mine business down there. There's a lot of copper mines down there. There's a lot of mines everywhere on everything, gold, all that. But what happened is that they had millions of years of leaves falling and organic and coming back into the soil, and then a new next year, another set of plants next year, and just go over this for hundreds of thousands of years. And then all of a sudden, the Great Salt Lakes became and limestone filled over it. But if it was hundreds of feet of limestone, thousands of feet of limestones, it would be coal. And if there was enough weight on top of it and we gave it enough time, it would be diamonds. But in this particular spot that we get our minerals, it's a very thin layer. It's probably about 30 feet, which is relatively nothing. I think you've been to the mine, Becca, and you can actually see pictures of it. And there's a thin, pale stripe going across the top of where we get the mines. Well, that's the limestone. Then if you notice, when we take best practice in harvesting, we don't go from top to bottom. We take the whole face and go deeper. The reason why we do that is some years it might have more of this mineral, and some years it might have more in this minerals. And by taking the whole face and taking it versus top to bottom, which would be chronologically newest to oldest, we're able to do that, and then it's just a matter of osmosis. And if you don't know what osmosis is, and the best way I can describe it to you, has everyone ever made sun tea before, where they take a big storage bottle for canning, and you put like 4 tea bags in it, and you put water in it, and you put it outside in the sun, and in about 2 hours you have really great tasting tea? Well, that's osmosis, because it goes from a high concentration through a media to a low concentration. And so what we do is we put the minerals in purified water, and we control the biometric pressure, the time, and the temperature till we get the amount of minerals that we want in this solution. And then we basically purify it and bottle it, and away we go. And so there's a couple companies that are out there that kind of have the same technology as what we're using. The big difference is that we're the only one that's certified organic. And to me, that makes a big difference. Can you get minerals from seaweed? The answer is yes. Some of them are very, very, very good. Can you get it from the Great Salt Lakes? That's a crystallized form of the minerals. I don't think you absorb it as well. I think when it's plant and the plant's already broken the mineral down, you're going to get the best bang for the buck. And so that's what makes the big difference with me. The video is only about 20 minutes, and I think it's a great way to see what's going on. The other question we asked is how many years do we have a supply? And we probably have over 100 years, but we've actually already figured out plan B. But Steve Wallach told me he'd shoot me dead if I told people what it was. So I won't tell you.
No, we don't want you dead, so don't tell us. Nope, nope, nope. Well, in the St. George area is beautiful. I mean, you've got the beginning of some of the most beautiful canyons, yet you still have the vegetation. And as I drive through, because when I was moving from Arizona to Washington State, I went through that many times. And that desert where the water has come through, and you see all those layers.
Yep.
It's so impressive. And those are minerals. But like you mentioned, the plant-derived minerals that we use, that's a compost pile of vegetation that once resided in this area. We recently saw the newest Jurassic Park, with all of the vegetation. So I think if it was even half that amount, that would be pretty awesome. But to imagine all of that vegetation broken down, and I used to compost heavily, and turning into like gold, dirt that is so full of nutrition, and then your plants are that way as well. So folks, I think we're in really good hands when it comes to longevity and their plant-derived minerals that go into the product. So great question, Bruce. Now the next question is, in regards to Ultimate Classic, the liquid. They're wanting to know, do you mix that with water? And is that also, that's 2 tablespoons for an ounce. So that's still for 100 pounds up to about what, 145 pounds, an ounce per day.
Yes,
Correct?
you can mix it in any liquid you want, or you can drink it and just take it straight. So it's all up to you. It's a palate situation on that scenario. So yes, you can mix it with water. A lot of people mix it with orange juice because the acidity of the orange juice just helps start to break down everything. And then Doc says, since there isn't a price difference between calcium enriched orange juice and orange juice, you might as well get the calcium enriched and just get the extra calcium. It isn't much, but it's every little bit helps. And so that's where that, you know, when he came out with his original formulas, sorry, people coming up on my front porch. That's where people get to hear Doc when he was lecturing, talking about calcium enriched orange juice with the Ultimate Classic, but water works just as well.
Well, and that would be like, it would remind me kind of like an Orange Julius type drink.
Mm-hmm.
So that's pretty tasty. Now AJ asked a question, but I don't understand it. So we're gonna go over to Gloria. And Gloria, is your question in regards to what you asked in the chat? If so, because Richard is not a quote unquote medical doctor, it may not be the right place to get the answer for your question. But if it's iron related, please go ahead. You're unmuted. What is your question?
Okay, it is not iron related. It's related to what's in the chat. So I'll hold off on that.
So
okay,
tell all your people they can email me at richard@youngevity.com. And if it's a real hot topic, I'll call you back and we'll talk about it over the phone, or I'll email you the answer or email you a link of someone giving an answer.
fantastic. Thank you, Richard. So that's richard@youngevity.com, folks. So fabulous, fabulous. Well, let me see if I got any type of clarity on that question. So with the Tangy Tangerine, the Beyond Tangy Tangerine, when we mix it in water, the powders, we sip it through the day. He's wanting to know about sipping the Ultimate Classic throughout the day to get the best results. Is that
so? In theory, the answer is yes. In practicality, the answer is probably no. And this is the reason why. I find too many people, and I can even be guilty on it, even though right now I'm really good. I think I have a couple. I have a turmeric pill left on my table. If you don't drink all of it, then you're leaving it on the table, right? And so if you have the self-discipline to spread it out over multiple hours, then the answer is yes. If you, at the end of the day, or when you come into your office the next morning, there's still a half a glass sitting on your table, then you're leaving half of it on the table, and the answer is no. So I'm one of those people that I take 90% of my nutrients before 9, and then after dinner, I have 3 or 4 that I take. And that's how I do it, because I've just developed the habit to do it every single day, because that's really the important issue. If you could develop the habit of drinking it and sipping it and spreading it out, and you don't miss, then yes, that's a better way.
all right? Thank you so much for that clarity. And, you know, if you're 200 pounds or even over 150 pounds, 1 ounce in the morning, 1 ounce in the afternoon, and there you're spreading it out, right? So that's one way to do it. Well, Richard, thank you so much. We are coming to the top of the hour. We had some great questions. Let me just make sure that I didn't miss any. Are you prepared to answer a question in regards to the type of vitamin D that is used in the Youngevity products?
So we have 2 vitamin Ds that we use, D2 and D3. We had people request that we provide certain products that aren't animal-based products. In that case, we substitute D2. D2 is a synthesized plant product, but a lot of people call it synthetic because it's synthesized in a lab and modified. So that being said, but D3 is usually lanolin, which is sheep wool, and that's an animal product. So we try to make everybody happy. Usually most people come at me saying, why would you put a synthesized nutrient in there? And I said, because we're trying to keep all the vegetarians and vegans happy as well. And so we're trying to give them both a choice. And so I'll try to answer the question without her ever asking me that.
Well, that's a great question. So a great answer to a question that we do get. So thank you so much for that. Here's another question. If a person is diabetic or blood sugar issues, do they still mix it with OJ?
Well,
Like
I'd probably
ultimate team.
lean them towards water. But you know, it all depends what else they eat. But you know, there is more sugar in orange juice and cranberry juice, which is the two typical juices that people use. And if their blood sugar is bouncing around, I probably suggest water.
Okay. Okay. And one final question. So this is coming from YouTube. Olga is asking, what do you think about donating blood and how it may affect the donor? Do you have any insight on that?
I'm a member of the 5 Gallon Club. And so you know, and I'm a volunteer. I was a volunteer fireman. I'm 70 now. I'm not a volunteer anymore, and a volunteer EMT. So our society needs to have donations. When people are in a hospital and they need blood, besides not having any parasites or diseases in our blood, that, you know, the least of their worry is what's the nutrient, you know, because they need white blood cells typically. And so I would say they would appreciate it. And I think that everyone needs to find a way to give back to their community one way or another. Friday night, I'm cooking dinner for 60 homeless people. And we'll do that via my Rotary Club. I'm making lasagna and Caesar salads and all that kind of stuff. And
Nice.
we'll do that for them. But I also still give blood every quarter.
And has it affected your health?
No, I'm as stubborn as I've always been.
See, me too. I'm as sweet as I've ever been, and I still give blood. So I think that's a great way to wrap up this show. And you know, you had mentioned white blood cells, and just to tie everything together, in my research, I found that if you don't have a proper balance of iron, which is the topic of this show, the body's not able to make those white blood cells that then are needed when we are looking at an episode in life where we need to have a strong immune system to fight off infection. So just one more thing to think about, folks, and making sure that you are getting the supplementation that your body needs so that you can give your body the opportunity to be its optimal best. So if I could get my co-hosts on the screen with us, I could not do this without them. I am so thankful to have such an amazing team that joins me here on the show, keeping track of things, making sure things are rolling smooth, keeping the chats going, bringing in the questions from the different platforms. And I am just so thankful and blessed to be able to say thank you to these individuals. Of course, Richard, being our guest for the day, thank you so much. And we have Phyllis, who her and her husband were instrumental in getting Dr. Wallach on the air way back when in the beginning. So thank you, Phyllis, and believed in the product long enough that the both of them have just stuck with longevity and continue to help people through nutrition. Thank you, Phyllis. We have Albert joining us from South Africa. letting people in. He is our gatekeeper. Thank you, Albert. We have Sherry, who is part of my tech crew, as she and the last person that you see on this screen are putting everything together, making sure that the streams are set up, the newsletter goes out, and everything is rolling smoothly. So thank you, Sherry. Thank you, AJ. We have Rod, who's helping to bring in questions from the different platforms. Thank you, Rod. And we have Marilyn. So Marilyn and Phyllis both were putting in chat information, typing in, and they tag team on this, which I think is absolutely fantastic. Makes it so that Marilyn doesn't have to type quite so much when Phyllis is here. But we are truly blessed to be able to have each and every one of these individuals who are certified holistic health coaches and also on our phone team. So if you call the number and you're not working with somebody else, when you call the number, one of these individuals could be who answers the phone for you. So again, that number, if you're not working with anybody, is 855-949-3377. And AJ, you have your hand up?
Yeah, it's an important question, and I'm really hoping Richard gives the right answer. So when you're cooking this lasagna on Friday, is it gluten-free lasagna?
So Fridays is going to be a zucchini and beef. Yeah, I can make gluten-free pasta. I'll make it for you, gluten-free pasta.
Well, it was a question from YouTube, because they really want to know that we're maintaining.
There's some good gluten-free pastas now. 5 years ago, I would have kind of, being a food snob, I would have gone, but now there's some really good ones.
And Richard, I use zucchini slices for my noodles. I love zucchini lasagna, and put that in the layers instead of a pasta, which makes it also low carb friendly. So thank you so much. That was a great question. Whoever asked that question, great question. And Richard, I think it's fantastic that you're still donating time, being part of the community and helping others. That's what we all should be doing, folks. No matter where you're at, there is a need for others who need you and whatever service you may offer. Part of those services might be nutritionally. So if you have a desire to be part of a solution to the problem being nutritional deficiency around the world, make sure that you get back with the person that shared this program with you. And if there's no one to thank, give us a call, 855-949-3377, and be very specific. Say, hey, I want to be part of the solution. How can I make this opportunity a business that helps others? Because folks, as we're helping ourselves and our families and our communities around the world, we're then helping to create a healthier world. So until tomorrow, where we're going to be talking about water and what we find in the water that could be toxic and keeping you from reaching your optimal best. Join us tomorrow. Same place, same time, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, 12 to 1 p.m. Pacific, 1 to 2 Mountain, 2 to 3 Central, and 3 to 4 Eastern time by going to zoom.dailywithdoc.com. And if you'd like to continue to be part of our studio audience after September 1st, make sure that you email us zoom@dailywithdoc.com and say, hey, I want to be part of this live Zoom audience. Okay, until next time, thank you everybody for joining us. My name is Becca Dukes, and as the Director of Student Services for the Institute of Holistic Health, it is my honor to be a resource that puts tools in your toolbox so you also on your own can make a U-turn in your health journey if it's not where you want it to be going. Until next time, bye for now. Thank you, Richard.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
This program is for educational purposes only. The content is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any diseases, nor is it intended to take the place of your primary care physician. The statements in this program have not been evaluated by the FDA. Testimonials are shared as individual experiences of the individual. Results vary and may not be typical. We do not make any claims regarding health or income. As an empowered individual,